Any success I've had in life can be traced back to Marion High School. It was here that I received a first-rate education that helped prepare me for a career in the law. It's here that I learned to be a teammate and to compete and to win and to learn from losing. And it's here that I made lifelong friendships. But most importantly, it's here that I was introduced to my wife on the very first day of our freshman year. This was almost 50 years ago, and I can remember that introduction in great detail. I once asked her what she remembered about that first day of our freshman year, and she said, "I don't remember anything about that day at all." So much for making a good first impression. I received a first-rate education at Marion because I had some great teachers, and I'd like to mention three whose lessons have had a lasting impact. The first is Margaret Ross. She was a fantastic English teacher, a true professional. She came to class every day prepared and ready to teach. I learned a lot from her just by watching how she carried herself and went about her business. Mrs. Ross often had us go to the chalkboard in front of the entire class and demonstrate for her that we had a mastery of grammar. She liked to put us on the spot. The second is Lee Brown. He was my American history teacher my sophomore year, and the very first test we took in his class was all essay, and I got a 78. Somehow, that turned out to be the highest score in the class, so I got an A. And I was pretty proud of myself. That is, until Mr. Brown took me aside and said, "You need to focus on the score and not the grade. 78 is not good enough. This was an essay exam, and you were supposed to organize your thoughts and write persuasively, and you didn't do that, but I'll help you with that." And he did. The last is my geometry teacher, Ralph Tuttle. One day I walked into his class, and I didn't have my homework done. That's because we had a tennis match the day before in Lafayette, and we got back home late. When the period ended, I walked up to him, I explained what happened, and I asked him if I could turn in the assignment a day late. I thought he would understand. Mr. Tuttle looked at me and said, "Do you think you're special because you play a sport?" And I knew I had stepped in it. He said, "You didn't do your homework because you chose not to do your homework. I'll tell you what, you can turn it in tomorrow and I'll grade it, but regardless of the score, it's going into my grade book as a 0. So these three teachers taught me English and history and math, but what I also learned from Mrs. Ross is the importance of professionalism and preparation and to think on my feet. For Mr. Brown, I learned the importance of critical thinking and persuasion. And for Mr. Tuttle, I learned that there are consequences for my decisions and that I'm not special just because I wear a robe. I've utilized these lessons every day in my career as a lawyer and a judge. To be good at either, you must prepare. You must walk into the courtroom and know a lot about the case. Once in the courtroom, you must think on your feet because something always happens that you can't anticipate. You must think critically. It's not enough to just know the law and the facts. You must correctly apply the law to the facts. You must be persuasive, whether you're arguing a case to a jury as a lawyer or writing a judicial opinion. And finally, your choices, your legal decisions affect other people, and it's your duty to do your best every day. Marion High School has a tradition of great teachers. It preceded me and continues to this date. I know that because our son recently graduated from Marion, and he's now in his 3rd year of medical school, and he's studying to be a neurosurgeon. That's in large part because he had great teachers like Terry Lakes and Doug Porter, just to name 2. Congratulations to my fellow inductees. Your accomplishments both humble and inspire me. Thank you to the board for this honor, and to Mark Fauser for nominating me. And finally, thank you, Marion High School educators.